Hello. Um, it's been a while. It's been a while. Um, and a lot in my life has changed. In terms of like what I'm doing right now and where I'm headed and everything. But the thing that started 2 years back, where I had a sketchbook in my hand and I really wanted to capture my moments in life and like being in a new country and everything. Um, it continued, and I've become, and so I don't know if you, I don't think I mentioned it anywhere, but I bought this Moleskine sketch album in the same trip, but I didn't want to use it back then because I already had one sketchbook that I wanted to fill with everything about Canada, whatever experience for 3 months I had. This time, I have had about 11 months in Europe. I've been based in France. And, I did have a bunch of opportunities to sketch around with stuff, do like paint my memories. Some of them are like when I was sitting there, I drew things up, and then when I came back, I painted them, or I finished the whole painting then and there. So it's not a lot. If you think about it, it's just half of the sketch album, and I don't know how many pages it has, but in terms of, I guess, the amount of stories that I can tell you via this um, sketchbook are probably less than the ones before. But it's still interesting because I think my art has kind of a little bit improved. I have gotten supplies. There are some supplies that are still the same, so maybe I think I'm gonna start with my supplies first. And I think the more important part of my supplies is just the paints, but I'll also just cover the pens first. Yeah. Okay. So let's just say that this is all I used. Let's just assume, right? Okay. Okay. Let's think of a pencil as well. And this is the paints that I used. I also did use um, uh, color pencils that I bought from Flying Tiger. So okay, let's just begin with a pencil. Not all sketches here have been made by this pencil. A lot of them have been made by um, just random pencils that I had, or they were made using this pen, which also has the lead in it, which is like a 0.5 lead, I think, um, or less, I don't know. But let's just assume I used a pencil for most of my sketching. This is also a pencil. This is a 6B pencil, who's actually, if you think about it, the main reason that I bought this was not to sketch, which was a secondary purpose. A primary purpose was one of the research projects that I was working on. I didn't get to use it there because we had stopped collecting data, and this would have helped to collect data, but then we found that graphite may not be something that works as well as some other inks, so it was related to some inks. This is a pen that I've still used, and I used it before as well, Uniball Air. I don't remember if this is a new pen or it's the same pen, or I probably might have just bought another one. But I do like it. The only con of this pen is that I don't know how to refill this, and I think it's just made to be bought again and again, and it's non-refillable, which is something I abhor. I don't like the concept of having to buy new pens and not being able to refill a pen you already have. And then one of my very good friends She gifted me, she knew that I was going to be sketching a lot when I came, and so before I started this journey, she gifted me a Pitt Artist pen fine liners set of, so it had 0.3, 0.5, 0.7 and brush pen in it, and I use them a lot and they're really good. And I have used them and they're everywhere. So one of these pens, one of these fine liners is in different corners of my so this has been usually my bag for painting supplies, but one of them is here, one of them is in my stationery box, whatever. Again, so, and this one is something that I've bought here in France. It's a 0.5, but I think it's a different kind of tip. I don't know. It's Sakura Pigma Sensei, but it's a different kind of tip, if you can see. And it's fun because most of my outlining that I do with this, and I like whatever it does. This is a brush pen that again I bought. I didn't have to, and it's again Sakura Pigma. I didn't have to buy this because I already had one from Faber-Castell that was gifted to me by my friend, but it also exists, and sometimes if I find this in my bag, what I found through like an Instagram page was like you use thicker lines for things that are in the foreground and like thinner ones for the background, and this is something that I use for that, for like foreground figures. This is I did have an eraser, but I quickly realized that was a really bad eraser because it was pretty old, so a lot of its purpose was gone because it was when I used to use it used to put like black residue on the paper, which was very bad, so I had to buy this. And I think I might have known about this, a Tombow Mono Dust Catch. It's a really good eraser, honestly, very good eraser, so I recommend. This, I don't remember where I might have bought this because I've been to so many papeteries and so many stationery stores all around Europe, but I bought it here. I don't know from where, but you can find it probably in any of them. I've seen this brand in almost every papeterie. So it's like Kohinoor Heart Muth. I think it's a British brand, or yeah, whatever. And so I wanted something, like I had something like this before, but I think I lost it somewhere or I didn't bring it here. So I bought this, and there are some interesting things that I've done with this that I'll show you. And I think it just adds a lot of interestingness to the drawing or whatever you're doing. This Winsor Newton box painting watercolors is something that I'm still using, and as you can see, don't come at me for how badly I have used these for the whites and the yellows. Oh my god. But this has been cool. This has been nice to use. Yeah, I'm just waiting. Honestly, I'm just waiting for like one of these to just go away so that I can refill it with another one. I had to resist myself from the temptation of buying new boxes here because I have not finished all of them, obviously. Like I want something like Payne's Grey, because Payne's Grey is something that I'm just like, I feel like I can go with anything. Even like Prussian blue. So this blue, which is something that I've used the most, is amazing. So whenever I'm going through like shadows or like I want to darken anything, this is the color I go to, and I think this is a great color for painting. Now we get to the sketchbook. There are stories obviously to how where I was, what I was doing, why I made the painting, and what was happening in my head, or around me when I made that painting. I guess we can go through all of that. I guess. These are some of the stickers that, one of the days when I was just like, my finals were over or like something, I was just bored and I had a bunch of stickers that I just wanted to use. I just put all of them here, and they look really bad, and I regret it, but it is what it is. I guess it's just fine. I think I can tell you where these are from. This is from Strasbourg, that concert hall, I think. I just went there because I don't know why, and I just picked it up because it was sticker book. This is from the Mess Arsenal, because there was a show there, and I went there and I found a sticker book, so I got it. These stars are from before when I think these were bought in Canada, and I've been using them ever since. This is a Midori sticker pack that I might have bought in London, I think. It's like a very cute cat thing that I've not used very often because it's so small. And it's also because it's Midori, so I want to like preserve it. This is a free sticker that I got when I was in some farmer's market here, but it was not a farmer's market, it was more like an artist's market. And I bought an actual sticker, and then they gave 2 more stickers that were free. And those look better than the one that I bought, so well. I don't know where I stopped, but we're back. Let's just begin, I guess, right? Okay, so I always keep the first page completely empty. It's just something that I've been doing for a long time. I don't know if it makes any sense to anyone. Okay, amazing. This is my spread for Strasbourg. That was my first trip. Like, I lived in France, but I wasn't like, my first visit to some place was Strasbourg, which was like, how far was it? It was, I guess, 1 hour away or something. I don't know. But it was in August 25, which is also a pretty good time. Like, now that I think about it, now that I've seen like almost all the months of the year, this was a good time to go anywhere. The fall is amazing. I do remember, usually the second, the left side of the page comes later. What I start with first is the right side of the page. So this was the first spread, and the pencil drawing was made when I was sitting in front of the cathedral, and it was a day trip, so I had a whole day, and it was like from sunrise to sunset sort of vibe. And so I had a lot of time, and what I did with that time was I walked around the same spaces again and again. And so I sat here for like, let's say 30-40 minutes to sketch this out, and there were a lot of people around me who were just sitting and just like looking at stuff. They were with family, so they were having fun, and this is what I made. And so I had not done with the pen, and with the pen was done later, but I did the pencil, and I took a picture so that I can recreate it wherever I want. But then on the same day, when I did the pencil, and I was like, the next moment, and like afternoon, when I was sitting on the river, I did this, which was a very quick sketch. With a brush pen, I did the borders of what the space that I wanted to constrain, and then there was a bridge, there's the river, and I had these are some actually. And this also is like an Alsatian house, which with like wooden brims, which is like very typical of this side of Franco-German buildings. I just took one and I just made this, and then I remember I was on the edge of the river, and there was at least one person was like he stopped and looked at what I was doing, and then they kept walking. Um, this was a ticket that I had bought for the whole day. Like, I wanted to visit a bunch of the museums, um, you know, and so like I think I covered like two or three, um, and so I just bought this €8 uh, one day thing, and I think it's tariff reduced because I'm a student here, and a lot of the things that I was able to experience here were because of me being a student. The other thing is that these are highlighters, and so I have used these, for example, the brown and the kind of orange red, and the orange red here and the brown here are the midliners, and I've had those midliners since like 2 years, and I love them, and I use them less than I should to probably like get done with them, but I have this thing where I want to like just preserve beautiful things with me. This one, the green, so I did not have green highlighter, but one of my friend got a green highlighter set for me, and that was really nice, so I covered that. Later when I came back, I had some evenings when I was free, and there was a lake in front of my university, and so I spent like some sunsets on that lake, and one of those sunset days I just sat like at an edge of the lake, and I was looking at the sunset, and I like filled it with pen. And then later maybe I thought, okay, I want to add the green, because the green is a more important part of this whole thing, where like like a pop of color, and so I probably added it later. This is again from Strasbourg. This is not from Strasbourg, this is from Strasbourg, because there was like, what I had found from my research about Strasbourg was there was a bakery item called a Kugelhof, which was famous, and this was one of the famous bakeries there. So I do remember even my breakfast of 2 croissants was from here, and then the Kugelhof in like lunchtime, before lunch, I got a Kugelhof from here. Later, so this is like 15 days later, and I did not have a lot of time, like I was studying, I was doing some like, I had less time than I had 2 years ago, and so I was not like sketching every day, but I was trying to do it like once in a while, and I was pretty quick with it, because a lot of the things that I did were very quick. They were very 15-minute, 30-minute ish, and the flow that I got because of them, like just like being in the flow, being in the moment, was amazing. And this was done plein air. I don't remember if I did the I think I did not do the painting plein air, but I did the drawing plein air, and I remember this is a very bad angle, and very bad thing to choose, because now I'm missing out on whatever is here. I don't know if you saw this. Okay, it was not in the frame, but this is what I was talking about before. This is Place d'Armes in Metz. Centre Pompidou. I went there once, just by myself, and like I got a sticker, I guess. But I remember when I was here, this is like the main Metz Cathedral, Saint Etienne, I think. I've been here for 10 months, 11 months, and I don't remember what the name was. But yeah, this was Saint Etienne, and like this is Place d'Armes, and this is like the tourist office here. And I remember like there were a lot of old people around, and there was one old uncle who just passed me by, and he was probably going to the tourist office. He stopped by, and he like asked me where I was from. And then when I said I was from India, and he was like, I've been to Kerala. And like this has happened to me at least 5 times, where people have come up to me to say that they have been to Kerala and they loved it. So like they love Kerala for some reason. This is again, we are still in Mess. This is an area plus Raymond Mondo. If you go down the street, there's the Fox Cafe. And yeah, this is that area. This over here is the Gar. If you go back, it's the Republic. And also, there were some drawing classes that were happening in my university in like Tuesdays, and I only went to one of them because I didn't feel like I could have like I felt like I was doing something on my own anyway, so I didn't want that. But I did go to one of the classes, and what they did was like they gave us some pictures of animals and we had to just recreate them. So I made this, and this is just something for me to remember it by. I just cut it and put it. I think I also made some other animal, but I didn't like it that much, so I just put this horse. That's the only thing I did. But they did it for a long time, for 2 semesters, but I didn't go to any other of them, which is kind of sad, but okay. I think I did not do anything for a long time, and then in I think October is when I had to go to I went to Paris. I didn't have to go to. This was the one that I made the voluntary decision of, I want to go to Paris now. And I went there. And this is, I kind of wanted to make a collage out of it. So this is not related to this trip, so I'll remove it for a while. But we have the first night I was there, I had the opportunity to, like, the first place I went to was the Louvre. Not inside. I have still not been inside the Louvre, which is amazing, which is fantastic to think about. But I was outside and it was raining, so like there's a person with a umbrella. And I think this came out pretty well, just the colors. And then I was there with Christine, which was one of our mates in my course. And so she was inside the Louvre. I was waiting for her outside and it was raining. And then we decided to have some dinner. And so we went to Chez Claude, which was just somewhere, I don't remember because it was like nighttime. But I was with her and we had like a burger, fries situation, and then we had creme brulee. That's the only time I've had creme brulee here, actually, if you think about it. But I had creme brulee, and I don't like this painting because it does not signify anything. There's no depth, there's no I couldn't have looked at it and said that this is creme brulee. The next day, I think we walked around like Shakespeare and Co. We went to Notre Dame, just like from outside. We didn't want to get into the line. We had an ice cream from Bertillon, which is something that one of our other friends recommended us. And then we just walked around like Les Marais, Ile du City, and it's like the main areas of, not main, like just like the central areas of the city. I dragged her to go into Papier Tigre, which is one of the stationery stores that I wanted to check out. And yeah, that was fun. I waited a long time to think about what I wanted here, but it was always unfilled. And so in one of my recent trips, I got like a sticker, and I just thought I'll just put it here. And it's a nice sticker. It's made by an artist, so that's amazing. Makes sense. But in the first trip ever, I did not go close to the Eiffel Tower. Like, I was nowhere close to the Eiffel Tower. We mostly did like the central areas and we didn't walk around too much. I was there for like 2-3 days anyway. Yeah, so 3rd October. So it was like the first week of October that I did this trip. Um, a street in Paris. Yeah, I remember like this is done afterwards. All of these, both even this is done afterwards. But I remember I had a picture and then I thought, okay, it's it's a nice vibe, you know. It's a great city. And I still love it, and like I don't think I hate it right now. I can see if like how people can hate it at some point, but right now I don't hate it. I like it really. I like it a lot. I don't know where this is. I can't find the exact geographical location of this, but it's just, you know, there's like restaurants that are what do you call them? They're just sitting outside, eating their food, drinking wine. It had rained. It was raining a lot that time, so like streets were like just. Um, there was a lot of reflection. This was probably around evening time-ish, so there were like shadows everywhere. It was fun. In the same trip, at some point, I did this Basilique du Sacre-Cœur uh, with with another one of my friends, um, and we went to Montmartre and Sacre-Cœur, and I took this picture. Um, it was pretty nice. It was good weather. It was amazing vibe. And I remember taking this picture, but then I came back and then I painted it. And there were a lot of iterations to how I painted it. I hate this, so let's not even talk about this. But this is fun. This is the first thing that I did, and then I thought, okay, I'll not paint any of this and like keep the center over here. But then I decided at some point that I wanted to paint this as well and make it a complete painting, and so I did that. Um, yeah, I don't know why I did this. I think I did not know what to do in this area because there were like in the actual photo there are people there, but I didn't want to add people because I was afraid I'm gonna mess it up, and so I just took a masking tape and put like the name of the place there. This is also Paris, but this is one of the trips that I had in later October, so I did have the opportunity to go closer to Paris, to the Eiffel Tower. And this is done by this Kohinoor Hardmath. And this thing is done by this guy. I do remember going to. So Musée d'Orsay, actually I went on my first trip and I really loved it. Musée d'Orsay is amazing. I got like an umbrella from there and I still have it. It's like kind of Starry Night vibe. In the second trip I went to like a Japanese stationery shop, bookstore, L'Écritoire, which is also papeterie, from where I got like a nice postcard. Actually, where are those things? I think I lost one of my planners last week. I think it might be in the hostel I was at last week. They haven't replied though, and I don't know if it's just like gone forever and ever on the face of earth. And that would be sad if it does because it was like my planner. It wasn't that expensive, but it was my planner. And I'm afraid that I might have kept a bunch of things on it in it. Like, but I don't know. RATP, just like, yeah, Navigo card. I had to keep on adding things to it, so I don't know why I kept the receipt here. This was written later when it was November and I was in Mess and there were like very nice sunset, and you know, when I put a story about that sunset, I remember putting this poem in, and then I thought, you know, I'll just use that poem to add it over here, like just fill the space. Who are you, little I, 5 or 6 years old, peering from some high window of at the gold of November sunset and feeling that if day has to become night, this is a beautiful way. E. E. Cummings. This I'm kind of proud of it. Not gonna lie. This is Van Gogh's L'Église d'Auvers sur Oise, View de Chevet. So the original one is by Vincent Van Gogh, 1890, in oil, and this one is watercolors, and it's an immature imitation. What can I say? But I like it. I really liked it when I looked at this painting particularly. I know it's not one of the most famous paintings of his, but I really liked it because there was like the wonkiness of just like the church, and like the colors of like green and blue and the browns. I really liked it, and I recreated it at some point, and I really love how it came out because the colors are nice. They're not bland. And I like it. I just like it. Ugh. And thank God I don't have any important things at the back, so I can just like tear it and like put it somewhere. So that's cool. This is 10th October. We made a trip to Trier, like just a day trip, and these were some things that I had. Like there were like thermal areas of Roman time. This is the Electoral Palace, and this is it's colored in the colored pencils that I got from Flying Tiger Copenhagen. Wow, it's still. I tore it like 2 days back, or like a week ago actually, and I've still not fixed it up. Let me just fix it up right now if I can. I just have the masking tape, but I can use a different tape later. I can just use it right now. Wow. Just like a Sue in time saves nine kind of vibe right now. I don't want it to like just tear off completely, but just to make it work till some time. And I'm not very confident with color pencils. I don't know like if they add any depth. Mostly with watercolors is that, you know, there are interesting things you can do with like no. But with color pencils it's like a laborious thing. It's still fine. It gives out, you know, somebody could look at it and understand, I guess. I don't know. Then for a long while I didn't do anything. I think I was busy with my exams and practicals and everything. But as soon as my semester ended, I made a trip to Luxembourg, which was extremely due. Why I had not done that before is something that escapes me still. But I did Luxembourg, and we were. It was early morning when I got there, and so I had to have some breakfast. So I got a bagel, and some espresso. And I sat in a cafe, and it was looking down into the street. This was a main bridge that went into center of the city, and this area, this is where like the train station was. Oh, you can't see. It was a main area of the train station. So I just sat there. It was a closed area, and I drew what I saw. It's wonky. It's just broken, but I think it gives out a good vibe, and it was done pretty fast. And then the coloring I probably did later on. And again, it's like highlighter-ish. Then there are color pencils, there are highlighters, there are color pencils. There's just the pencil, and I've used the pencil to just do the gray areas. So there was a lot of grayness to the city, especially because it was also like pretty cloudy at that time. And so there's the gray roads and everything. But like the poles, the traffic poles, they're red. So I did that with the highlighters. It's not perfect, but it's a memory. And then this was done later. This was not done on the spot, but this is one of the pictures that I took of Chemin de la Corniche, which is like the balcony, a famous balcony that you have in Luxembourg city, where from where you can look at the city in the bottom. So there are like layers to the city, and so this is like a famous view that if you've been to Luxembourg you might recognize. And again, there was a lot of grayness, and this was not as yellow as it looks here. It was kind of like a butter yellow sort of vibe, but I messed it up a little bit. And then there's a river here, there's a guy here, there are like cars parked. Again, very quick, very rapid stuff that I've looked at my memories and just painted them. So we stopped last time at this page, and this page essentially chronicles like when I went to London for the Christmas and New Year's. And the first time I went solo into the city was when I was walking along the river Thames, and then just looking at everything. It was very good weather that day, and I did a lot of walking. This is something I drew later, but it's like the St. Paul's Cathedral, which I randomly saw, and it was looking so good in the sunlight, and so I took a picture, but I drew this later. And then from here I went down, so the river is here, I walked up, I was walking down here, took a picture. Then I walked this way. This was like some sort of boys' school or just random school, and then I walked this way, and then I was just so enamored by the modernity of the city, the amazing buildings and just history in little corners. And then I think one of the so this was way later. This is 2nd of January, when I was out in the city kind of late, when it was already 7, 8, and because it would get dark sooner in these times, I walked along the Tower Bridge. I was here for a while, then I walked this way, and then I walked all of that, and then I took a train back, and I don't remember where so there's I think London something, and so I took a train back to where I was staying from there. Then I came back. I didn't draw a lot of London. Is there more later? There isn't more later, so I think that's something that I can still do. This is when I came back. This was the 7th of February, so my classes had already started, and that was one of the days where I could go into the town, cycle around a bit. So this is Porte Allemande, des Allemands, which is the German gates, and so this is in Metz. This was the first time I'd been there, and I was this is really cool. I didn't know this existed here. This is how the bus tickets looked like, and so I thought I had so many of them because I used to just keep on buying and not recharge the ones I already had. So I just pasted this here. Then end of February we had a spring break, and so for the spring break I went to Lyon and Chamonix, and this was in Chamonix that I made these ranges. It was really nice, and so this is Aiguille du Midi, and at some point I did go up there, and you could see the Mont Blanc. Mont Blanc is the tallest mountain in France, and so I did that, and it was so good. That was one of the best experiences I had because I really like hills a lot. And Lyon was also a very, very pretty town. I honestly loved Lyon, and this was one of the cathedrals that they had. This Basilique du Fouvier, Lyon. This is on 24th February, and this is how it looked when I was in the town and you could see up there because it's on a hill. But then inside was so beautiful. It was like this amazing green and golden vibe. uh, Absolutely amazing. There's like one of my favorite cathedrals that I had been to, favorite basilicas, and so I knew that, you know, this is something. I came back and I painted it up. I couldn't get the vibe, but it was so good that even this like low key has some more details than other ones. Then at some point, this is my train from Lyon to my town. Oh no, this is not that one. In May, I went to Brussels. Like this vibe, so you know, by looking at this, it's Brussels. And then I met a friend in Frankfurt, so I had to get like a reservation from Brussels to Frankfurt, and yeah, so this is, what's the date here? Let me check. Okay, this is April. So this is the Brussels and Frankfurt was in April, but then in May I went to French Riviera, and there was slight problems with my reservation back because I didn't make the reservation early enough, and so somehow I had to stop in Lyon, and then from Lyon to Metz I had to take a train. This is, yes, so this is Pass Journée, for like when I bought a Nice will, but I there was one day where I traveled to like Cannes, Antibes, and Monaco in the same day, and it costed me like, I could do unlimited trips on 20 euros. I had to do like 3 cities in the same day. This was in Nice. This was at a very nice shop. Let me try. I bought something from Uniqlo, so that, yeah, I bought like a pair of socks and a skirt. That makes sense. And this was from my hostel where I stayed. Yeah, pretty fun. And so in did you even see these? I don't know if you did, but like, yeah, this was what I was talking about. And then in Nice I also did a lot of like a little bit of plein air, and so this was one of those where I had a hike, and then I reached this village which is near Nice, and I sat there and I like wet my legs a little bit. I didn't want to swim because I can't swim, so I just sat here and then I like painted what I saw. I realized later that this side, so like the opposite side, the 180-degree side of this, looked way prettier, but I just drew this and I don't know. This was also plein air. I was on the Nice beach, and that is why you can see like some of the colors, they are just not like hitting the spot, because I was using a reservoir based brush, and so it gets contaminated very easily and you can't like refill it again and again. But yeah, I mean, 15th May, I got the vibe, I guess. And this is like the main beach of Nice. Before that, on 13th May, I did like a cycling tour where we went to different spots in Nice. This is like, we were on top of Colline du Château, and from there, you know, we saw something of this sort. It was very pretty, and I saw it so many bunch of times. It was really pretty all the time. This is like a Russian cathedral that we found on the cycling tour, which was so pretty as well, and so I knew that I had to paint it. But I guess like I had only this much space, so I thought I'll just like do it a small one rather than starting a new one. This these are the parts which are like less travel, but like I had some free time on my hands because my semester had gotten over, and so but I was still there for a while, and so I downloaded a book, it's The Urban Sketcher, and there were some exercises in there. And the first exercise was this one where like you drew this, so I drew it, and you know that's about it. That's the vibe, and it's kind of cool. I do remember I did the sketching and then the highlighter I did, but then you see these golden pastel. That was when I went to Paris, and then I bought a Sennelier pastel, and so I thought, you know, like, I could do that. And then on the same day, I was feeling very inspired, so um, I drew a bit of things that were around me, so like a desk setup. Um, yeah, the same day, and so like I usually have a lot of things on my desk all the time. I'm not like a clean desk person. So we drew all of these things up, and that was, yeah, looks good. I kind of like this vibe, and also I like the yellow with the purple, and then like just the black and white for this. It captures the vibe, I guess. On 22nd May, might have been, yeah, just one of the days, and I went to a cafe, and I just drew things in front of me. This is one of my least favorite spreads in this whole like whatever, because it just didn't. But you know, I don't worry about that too much. And then on 23rd May, it was a Sunday, and I knew that urban sketchers existed everywhere in the world, but I didn't know that they existed in Mess as well. And I mean, they kind of do, but like in the sense of three old ladies kind of vibe. So there was like a botanic garden, which I anyway had to go to at some point. And I thought I'll just, you know, they were going there, so I thought I'll just merge them up and go there. And I sat in a little corner, and just drew what I saw. Again, I don't like this a lot, but I guess this is important because this is sort of like a collectible. And I wish I did this more, like even in Paris or like Brussels, Luxembourg. They have their chapters everywhere, and I could have done all of them and, you know, collected the stamps, but I didn't do that. But I think I will be more mindful from now on and do these things as and when I can. Then we have yeah. So I also went to Marseille in my French Riviera trip, and so this is from 16th May, but I drew them later. So like a lot of the things, a lot of the dates that I write here are not the dates that I drew them, but the dates when I saw them. And so that's and this is like I went up when I went to Marseille. I wasn't feeling really good because I had some very stressed days, physically exhausting days before in Nice. But I think I like how this turned out. It's like a nautical vibe. The cathedral in itself is like has a very nautical vibe. Even inside, it's like random figurines of ships and stuff. But I like whatever happened here. Then I had a lot of things that I thought that, you know, were still like interesting from Nice. And I didn't do these plein air, but I did these later. This is like an interesting thing that I did. I don't know if it looks good, but like an interesting perspective of like fish eye sort of vibe. This is also like a street somewhere, and yeah, like when I drew this thing up, I didn't plan to fill in it with colors, but then I used my highlighters on it, And then I thought, okay, now that I've used highlighters, I might as well like put the right colors in. And so I think I touched it up with some other, like my pencil colors or like watercolors and stuff. And so it's a very evolving process of how I do, like, I think about art. um yeah, mid of June I went to Paris, and that was very fun. This is plein air again. This was my hostel, and they were right beside a canal, and I just sat there and I drew this because I was waiting for my check-in. I had already go I reached early, and I was supposed to wait for a few hours for check-ins, and I needed to have food. So I got like a very good meal of burger, fries, and I just sat here, drew what I saw. There was like a bridge here that kept on going up and down. There were people sitting here who were like reading or like talking with their friends. There was like this building here. The canal was like green in color, and I really like it because it came out as I thought it should. And so I'm happy with that. Then this is also plein air, which also is very interesting, which is also very good. This is Palais du Luxembourg in Paris, and I went there and I sat there for a while I drew this, and I painted it as well. But then I didn't do the outlining, and I think I touched it up later with some more paint as well because it felt a little dry. But again, I like how it turned out. I don't have much qualms. Of course, like this tree could have been anywhere, but I was sitting at the spot, and it's important that like when I look at this, I know exactly where I was sitting and what I was watching, and what the conversations behind me were. So that's the more important part. These are the things I bought in Paris, of course. The Sennelier oil pastel. These are, I think this one is from Rougier et Play, but these two are from Sennelier itself. They did not, Rougier et Play did not have Caran d'Ache, and so I went to Sennelier later. I got these two, which is fun. And then I planned to go to Louvre, but I was like, I don't want to spend the whole day in one museum. Like it didn't seem efficient to me because I was only there for a few days. And so I went to Orangerie, which has the Monet's water lilies, and so I really liked that. Yes. Actually, my favorite is Musée d'Orsay, and so this is like its sister. Then this is also kind of plein air. There was the Shakespeare & Co. reading room, and so you're not supposed to take pictures here. And so the next best thing I knew, and because I also wanted to like escape the heat wave, and I knew that if I could, I will just sit here for ever and ever. And so I sat there and I started drawing, and I was like, they say we can't take pictures, I might as well just draw it, and I'll remember this place. It's not as amazing as I wanted it to be, but I mean it's fine. For me, I can see it, and since I've been there twice as well, yeah. This was done later. This was actually done when I came back from Europe itself, but this is one of the first things I did there when I was there. It was Hotel d'Invalide, and I also thought there's like Napoleon's tomb here. I thought if I was a student, I'm less than 26 years old, they might as well allow me to go free. Like Louvre told me to go in without any tariff, and so but they didn't allow me, and then I was like, oh, then I'm not going in. and so I started walking on this side and I took a picture. And I don't know if you guys can see it, but I used the golden thing here because this was golden. And the vibe is that, I think I used too much yellow, so now we can't see the golden. But also the golden pastel is not actually, like, it's not real gold. So, like, it's not metallic gold, so you can't see it too much. To understand this, we have to go to the next page. This is in Marseille, 16 May 2026, but I drew it at the same time as the Hotel des Invalides. And this was like a viewpoint that I had when I was walking down from the Cathedral de Garde, and I could see the sea here, and then there was like everything was like very small, and then I was walking down. So that was, yeah, so I did this when I came back here, and then I had used like, I had taken out from that tubes a lot of paint, and if I stopped painting, all of that paint would have gone to waste. And I was like, I'll just use them, clean the palette, and then put everything inside. And so to use the colors I had already taken out, I did some random musty and I just used all of them, like, and it probably looks cooler than everything else, and that's just the fact of life, I guess. And that's it. Yay.